Greetings, gentle viewers, and my throat is completely destroyed.
I guess Billy is dead. Come to think of it, we've been doing a lot of recording lately where we're completely wiped out at the end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, the games we've been playing have been really
high energy is the answer. So, when we last left off, we're the Bittersweet Gamers, by the way.
I'm We Squared.
I'm the Opinionator. Did I just imply that when we last left off, we were the Bittersweet Gamers?
Well, that's technically true.
Which says that, but the only reason I would say it like that would be if now we were not. Maybe.
I'm Death Squared.
I'm the Deathinator.
Ow! My throat.
Anyway, when we last left off, well, although Phoenix is obviously scared, we're about to nail Andistan'dhin.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. What do I do?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you present to us something that could have served as a guide through the darkness?
Why, yes, we can. We can present a glowing green box.
Yes, I can. I can present a glowing green box because there has to be something. All right, let's see what you have, Defense.
I've only been screaming about the glowing green box, Ninja, for a long time.
What could the victim have been holding that served as a guide through the darkness? Glows in the dark. Okay, that's the one.
I mean, that seems pretty clear.
Take that! I believe the victim was holding the treasure box.
What?
Huh?
Have you gone mad?
I'd say slightly miffed. Well, the box glows in the dark, so you could use it as a sort of beacon. Well, I guess you're right.
But why in the world would the victim be holding the treasure box?
Because... Mr. Payne. We were supposing that he killed Mr. Patrol. Patrol. Sorry, Patrol. Why would he kill to take the treasure for himself? Well, because your guess is as good as mine.
Hold on. Look at the transcript. Phoenix said he believed the victim. We didn't even pay attention to that.
Oh, you're right!
But that's the only thing that it could be. Gee, you know, we're not sure on any of it. But we had posited. We have accused Albie, Roll, and Andistan'dhin of being the petty thieves that have done this. If one of them has to be the case, either Albie or Roll or Andistan'dhin. So it's like if Roll had been doing this stuff, maybe he was the one stealing it.
Yeah,
but I still think that the basic idea is that it's not that the victim was holding the box.
Well, hold on. Because what Albie said Roll said to him was, did you steal it?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So he would not be handling it.
Maybe opened it, took it, closed it. Roll went to check on it, found it was empty.
Oh my God, it's empty, and it's carrying it around to prove that the box is empty.
Yes.
Hey, that's it right there. That's it.
What is this lawyer talking about?
Nonsense and lies yet again.
How'd those speakers get in here? Just give them the death penalty already. Is there no way to win them over? Probably not.
I really like how Albie is no longer on trial here. Now it's Phoenix.
Yeah.
They're talking about giving the death penalty to Phoenix.
Right. Defense. This is my disapproving face. Are we going to be needing those tongue shears after all? No, sir. No, your majesty. Yeah, man. Do it. Then we can jam out to this lawyer's shrieks of pain.
I know. I'm quite interested in seeing these tongue shears in action.
Better get those screams of agony out now, lawyer man. Well, you still have a tongue to scream with. I guess I'd better come up with a reason. No pressure or anything, me.
We're already there!
As to why the victim was holding the treasure box, it can easily be explained as thus. Brain, don't fail me now! What reason could the victim possibly have had to be holding that treasure box?
So...
The victim was holding the treasure box because he was a security guard, right?
Well, the way that we're looking at it Like the way that you had described it before, the security guard was it, but he still could be the thief.
Because he had his scarf up and was acting in a threatening manner. Maybe he intended to steal it.
But why would he say, "Did you steal it"?
Maybe he thought Albie, that's why Albie was there. Maybe he was just like panicked. He seemed like, from Albie's description, he seemed like he was panicked and sort of like not being himself. So
which is why he wanted to run from his friend.
Yeah, so I think the thief is the correct answer. And if I'm wrong,
well, it shouldn't matter because we're not.
Oh yeah, there's not a.
Yeah, we're not under threat here anyway. Also, the other ones don't match up.
You're right.
I mean, none of them are as unique. And we have thought about this because, again, we've accused everybody of being the thief at some point.
It's an idea I just happened to stumble upon. Don't know about these two voices in my head, but I think it just might be the answer. And it would turn this whole trial upside down. Hello? Defense? Are you still with us? Has your Mitama already been taken to the Twilight Realm? Let's hear this easy explanation you promised. Isn't it possible that it was because the victim himself was the thief?
We know that he needed the money.
That's true.
More so than Albie did.
The victim?
The thief?
The security guard?
Shadow?
What kind of bull are you spewing now? Your Majesty, this guy's off his rocker.
So, what does it mean? Why does he need to say that Albie is the thief? What if he were like, "My God," says Andistan'dhin, "I never thought of that. Maybe he was the thief." How does that change? Because then he couldn't pin it on Albie.
Right.
Because then it would bring the motivation of everybody in this around into question.
Yeah,
okay, there we go.
If the victim was the thief, everything we've learned so far would all make sense.
True.
And it would give us a completely new way to interpret the victim's actions.
There's only one problem with that.
Yes? Voice in my head?
If Roll was holding the box, why did... Okay, bear with me here. The box glows green in the dark.
Yes.
So when we looked at the insight and it went dark, how could it have gone dark? Because Roll was holding a glowing box. One way, because if that's when the breaker was flipped, shouldn't that have been when the box began glowing? Alternately, like, you see what I'm saying with that, right? Let me move on to my other point before you say that. I guess you could say that he had been whanged, but the light went off before he got whanged. Right. That was the whole point of us attacking the insight, right? Proving that inconsistency. Another thing is that whole time in the insight, we were seeing him by the light of the green box. But then why would Albie have lied about that? Albie saw him holding the box. Why is he defending him?
It's possible that he may not have been holding the box. He may have had it like hooked to something on his belt, or the box might not be that bright.
But the box is definitely big, and when Albie described it in the past, it was bright. He wanted to bring people to see it as a tourist attraction.
That's true.
So we just have to figure out the difference between the blackout, the light, like the timing of the blackout, which, by the way, if the blackout that we saw in the insight wasn't the blackout and the light was already out, and what we were seeing Albie by from the insight was Roll holding the box, that would explain that long timing issue that I've been complaining about the whole time.
Yeah.
But the light glows green, and that was not a green tint that we saw. So we're not there yet. I'm still not sure that everything is exactly the way that Phoenix is saying.
But we are so tantalizingly close.
Yeah, there's a couple of issues we got already, though.
After the morning dance of devotion, Mr. Roll went to the treasure room. He grabbed the box that contained the treasure and started to take off with it. But then he ran into Albie on the Great Stairs. That's why Mr. Roll pulled his gun on Albie. Then,
I'm satisfied with that. That's one of the reasons that we brought it up in the first place, seeing the scarf and him pulling the gun on his friend.
Yeah. Mr. Roll was bludgeoned to death in the darkness.
Also, he's going to have to address the murder weapon, which is currently is listed. Everyone thinks the box is the murder weapon.
Right. This explains why the victim would be holding the glowing treasure box in the dark. I didn't think about that statement when I said it.
I mean, Albie should be able to say something about this.
And how it would have been possible for someone other than the accused to kill him.
There's so many holes we have to get at, but this is how you start it.
Yeah.
And then you just gotta bring it all up and knock them all down one by one.
One by one.
Do you have any idea what you're saying? Haven't you been listening to those commentators?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're unbelievable, lawyer man. I think you've lost it.
Phoenix lost it long ago!
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Roll, trying to roll the temple? Anyone? That devout believer? That pious Christ? I won't allow you to disparage the victim's departed soul with unfounded allegations. I hope you're prepared to back up your claim.
We do have to have some way of proving it, and right now it seems like the evidence is against us.
Yes?
I'm not saying I want that to be the case.
Right. Of course, your majesty. I never bluff.
Oh, really? In that case, can we assume you have proof?
Uh-oh. Proof, huh? Do I have any proof?
That sweet, sweet sauce of the courtroom, death proof?
What are you on about?
Yeah! I've discovered my newfound love!
Oh my god. But I can't back down now, despite this being one of the weirdest cases I've been in. Yes, I have proof in my dreams. The proof that Mr. Roll was the thief may have been left behind on a certain piece of evidence.
Where's he going with this?
Very well.
Oh, hold up.
Yeah?
We better do that save, like that defensive save, because we haven't figured this out yet.
I guess you're right. Very well. Let's see your evidence and be ready to stand behind it. Footprints, fingerprints, I'll take anything at this point. I need proof. Something that would have been involved with the theft. And that might still have some trace evidence left on it.
The box?
That's what I'm thinking. What proof do you have that the victim might have been the thief?
I mean, you can still look at them from here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be the box then?
That does seem to be what it's pointing at.
Because I mean, us discussing the blood on his hand in the box, which we think came from the same spot, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it can't be anything else, right?
We've looked through everything else, and nothing else seems to present any kind of proof. So then,
that's what I'm saying. Is something like fingerprints, footprints? Well, I guess he's got fingerprints on the box.
Well, actually, he's wearing gloves. Maybe it.
I think it's the box.
Oh no, you're right. Take that!
Whew! Okay, good.
The defense would like to examine the treasure box.
I was really kind of worried about that. Because, I mean, there was enough reason to think about the photo, but it's just those lines, like from the transcript, involved in the theft.
Right. There might be trace evidence on it that would show that the victim had held it.
Man, if you wouldn't have pointed out that Roll was wearing gloves, I would have been pushing that the whole time.
Might? You'd better hope you turn up something more definitive than that, defense.
But it's the blood.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Your Majesty. Very well. Bailiff, bring the treasure box. Are we going to have another minigame where we examine it?
Oh, this is new. You've never actually gotten to see the evidence on, like, the table or something. It's always been through an evidence viewer.
Nice.
It's like a brand new thing for Phoenix Wright.
There you are, defense. You're free to examine it. If I don't find something now, my entire argument up to this point will be blown. Plus, there's that little matter of the old tongue shears.
And the DCA, bucko.
I have to find something. I just have to.
The evidence viewer!
Now, to make sure I remember how to do this...
How do you do it with a mouse?
I can rotate the evidence by swiping the screen.
By what now?
I can also pinch in and pinch out to zoom in and out and get a better look. I don't know if I can do that with a mouse.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
No, it makes sense. I've just never heard it like that.
And if I ever get too turned around, I can always tap reset to return things to this initial state.
Well, let's see if we can figure out how to operate this thing.
I'd better search every inch of this box carefully. And tap anything of interest to check it out in detail. So this is where the Founder's Orb was, huh? I doubt there's any trace of the orb left here now. Although I don't really know anything about the orb, so who knows?
Let's just keep moving. Remember, you're not trying to rotate it like a madman to the sake of rotating it. You're just trying to...
I disagree. This is the lock. It was forced open.
It was forced. It wasn't a key, huh?
I don't really see anything else of note about it. Was it forced open?
Well, in that case, that's the proof, isn't it?
I mean...
the evidence said it was forced open, and Phoenix just said it was forced open there from examining the lock. Isn't that our thing?
I would imagine
let's keep looking, of course. Because, no, that just proves that it wasn't Andistan'dhin that forced it open.
Oh yeah, you're right. The lid of the box was forced open.
Again with the forced open.
But while the victim was holding the box, the lid must have been closed. I'll try closing the lid too. Hey!
That's what we needed to do. The thing you're always supposed to do, though, when you start these is look at the bottom.
I did glance at the bottom while we were talking a little bit. Well, what? You son of a... You locked it! So... It's already empty. What's the big deal? I thought you could open it with that key you're wearing. Yeah, I can. No sweat, except for the ones that's coming down my face.
Oh, yeah? So it's not the real key, huh?
Then why is there a bucket load dripping off of you over there? Good call, commentators. This means the lock wasn't forced because it's not broken.
Maybe that is how it works. But why is he worried about reopening it then?
I'm not sure. I think I'd like to open this box back up again.
Yeah, we need to see how this goes to see what this means.
Could you lend me your Magatama key? Sure. Okay, let's see. Where's the keyhole? It's gonna kind of poke at it a little bit. Well, it's the Magatama key. So wouldn't it go in the hole above the Magatama mark?
That probably makes sense.
Yeah? Uh-oh.
Oh, how funny.
Huh? It won't open. Would you look at that?
Man, isn't that weird?
The thief must have busted the lock when they forced the box open. Except it wouldn't close. Really? Because I'm not so sure about that.
I don't even think that's necessarily true either, that it wouldn't be able to reclose. And
well,
it might be true, but is it necessarily true?
I did used to work for Kwikset, making locks. For about a year.
No, I get that, but that may not be the only thing that we need to consider. That may be focusing entirely on the wrong point.
Okay,
it may be the right point, but is there anything else it could be?
Right.
Not even the Magatama key can open it.
Still glows in the dark, though.
I mean, they said forced open, forced open, forced open, forced open.
Yep. In any case, I'd better take another good look. If we can focus on the blood now. I have to find proof that the victim was holding this box.
Like, maybe you could close it a few other times.
Oh! Maybe there's a design in the blood that matches up with the...
I mean, yeah.
That matches up with the glove.
Hold on. Is there anything else on the thing before we look at that then?
Oh, yes, I can examine it. This is the lock. It was forced open. I don't really see anything else of note about it.
Yeah, shut up about the lock, in other words. Can you just look at the bottom? I know you glanced
I wasn't gonna pick it.
I know you glanced at it, and you hadn't looked at the back.
Ah, there's the butterfly. There's a butterfly relief here. I've seen the same butterfly shape here and there all over Wright, like everywhere. Interesting, but I guess it doesn't really help me prove anything.
Now that blood, on the other hand...
I'll look at the other blood, too, just to be fair. Oh, nope, that's the same blood. I'll look at this blood.
Yeah, on 2 different spots. And that does look like it'd be where you'd hit it, but...
This lid is really shut tight.
Ah, that was just a...
I can't budge it, no matter how hard I try. Okay, I guess that wasn't about the blood, but this sure looks suspicious, don't
yeah.
it? This blood stain.
Looks like a handprint.
It shows the outline of a hand.
And then we have the bloody hand in Roll's photo.
Could this be what I've been looking for?
But why did Roll have blood all over his hand while holding this thing? If he were holding it and then were killed, that wouldn't have anything to do with him being the thief, though.
Yeah, he'd have to grab it after he'd been killed, then put his hand on his head, unless there's something else going on.
Well, he couldn't have put his hand on his head. Because after an injury was inflicted on him, he died. He didn't have a chance to put his hand on his head.
Yeah, you're right.
So the blood would have been splattered onto him. That's why when you look at the thing, the outline of the handprint was the part that did not have blood. It was the outside of it. Because the blood was splattered on his hand and the box, okay?
Yeah.
It was his own blood that was splattered on it. I don't see how that proves that he's a thief, but it sure proves something. It sure proves that he was probably holding it. He was holding it, at least, when he died.
Your Majesty, take a look at this. There's a blood stain here that outlines the shape of a hand. Really? Let me see that. Oh my, you're right. Now I'm getting somewhere. Only 5 more episodes to go.
Hey, trials take a long time. There's a game, right?
That's true. I believe the blood stain is an outline of the victim's hand as he was holding the box.
Right, like we've just been through.
What? Even as he was being struck, he held on tight to the precious treasure box. After all, he'd gone through a lot of trouble to steal it. The blood from his head wound splattered across his hand and onto the box.
Exactly as I said. Your Majesty, don't let yourself be taken in. It's just more of his loyally deceit.
You leave my deceit out of this. What do you mean? It makes perfect sense to me.
Mr. Wright, where is your proof that the outline is that of the victim's hand?
Oh, this photograph showing his bloody hand. What? I should have seen this coming.
We did!
We did, yeah.
Gleam!
There it is.
Either show proof or prepare to meet the death shears.
I think that's an appropriate name.
No, you could save us all some time and bite your tongue out now and submit it instead.
I don't think that would prove any... Oh, I see what you did there, Mr. Payne. That I did not see coming. Well, defense, how about it? Do you have proof that the outline is of the victim's hand?
Yeah.
Where would the proof of something like that even be?
Why, let's look at the only piece of evidence we have that shows the victim's hand.
Please submit your evidence at this time.
Okay.
It will be graded after class. What evidence shows that the outline on the treasure box is that of the victim's hand? Take that.
I mean, come on.
I've got it. This is the evidence that's going to save my beloved tongue. Mr. Payne, despite your claims about my forked tongue, it just so happens I have the proof you require.
You do?
Now who's sweating buckets? It's right here in this crime photo. It is? Where? Defense, please point it out.
Why point at his hand?
What proves that the bloodstain outline on the box is that of the victim's hand, you ask? Why, it's...
The bloodstain
right
on
here.
the victim's hand!
Just want to make sure I'm...
Yeah, this is really complicated with the mouse, actually.
Yeah! Take that!
Do you have to drag it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Payne, take a good look at the victim's hand.
Ta-da!
See this? That's blood!
Oh, is that what they call it? I thought it was strawberry jam. I mean, what?
If we place Mr. Roll's hand inside the bloody outline...
You think the blood on his hand would complete the splatter?
Yes, let's bring his body in and check. Exactly. Here goes nothing. And if they do form one complete splatter, it would prove my theory correct.
Well, it just proves that Roll was holding it.
Then the victim really was holding the box. Well, it would disprove that it's not the murder weapon.
That's true. It moves everything forward closer to the truth.
I'm willing to bet my life on it because I have no choice. The defense reasserts that the victim was the thief who stole the treasure box.
Excellent. You can't be serious!
Andistan'dhin's pointing, Phoenix is pointing.
It was part of the hat! I protest. There's no way they would ever match up. I assert that it's patently impossible for...
Talk about tongue karma. Sounds like he just bit his.
It hurts so much if you bite your tongue.
Yeah. What's the matter, Mr. Payne? Did your forked tongue get tangled up in there?
You shut up, Mr. Wright!
Or were you trying to submit your own tongue to the court?
I
hope there's not like a prosecution culpability act. That would suck. I can hardly believe it. Apparently, not everything out of the defense's mouth is a bluff.
If it were, we wouldn't have gotten this far.
That's true.
You just would have verdicted us to death.
Of course not, your majesty. This tongue doesn't lie. And I'd like to continue to use my tongue in the future, too, if you wouldn't mind. He never has to know it really was a bluff.
You know, that's something else about the script, or not the script, but maybe it is the script, but I haven't played any of these games in Japanese. I think it would probably be slightly outside of my capability. Maybe not. I've never tried. In the earlier localizations of the game, Phoenix never seemed like he was bluffing all that much. But then it sort of became like spread out into the mimetic public consciousness that Phoenix Wright bluffs. And so in this game and in Dual Destinies, he talks constantly about bluffing. Whereas before it was like, I'm not quite there yet, but what about this? But now it's just like, I'm bluffing all the time. And he's constantly talking about it.
That kind of sucks, I think.
It's exactly like what people commonly think of about the original Star Trek, where like Kirk was a shoot from the hip guy and the whole show was totally hokey and it was a bunch of space cowboys. But when you watch the show, none of that is true in any way.
Just what people remember.
Yeah, but they remember something that isn't there in the first place.
Never said beam me up, Scotty.
No, not Mr. Roll. I can't believe it. Though I guess I would explain why I thought he was so scary and ran away and when he pointed a gun at me, his buddy.
I'm sorry, Albie. I know it's upsetting news. He must have needed the money badly, probably to support his family. After all, he even gave up his dream of becoming a monk to help them.
Oh, so that thing Mr. Roll would say to me, Albie, you train hard and make sure you become a monk one day. Don't end up like me, he'd say.
Ah. Yeah, he was probably warning you not to end up a thief.
Oh, Mr. Roll. Now, wait just 1 minute. Knock off the sentimentality.
Oi!
If the victim was the thief and he was holding the treasure box, it would glow in that... Then that means that Mr. Roll was holding the murder weapon when he was killed.
Ah, thank you for pointing out the contradiction in your own case. Oh, that's a very good point. I almost got suckered in by all this cruce examination. It doesn't make much sense, does it?
Well, the only reason we thought it was the murder weapon is because it was a blunt object covered in blood.
Yeah! If the victim was holding the treasure box, it couldn't have been the murder weapon.
But we know the source of the blood and the victim was holding it, so we just need to find another blunt object.
Luckily, we have.
Those speakers!
Which means the real murder weapon must have been something else. The real murder weapon? Oh, my poor heart! I don't know if I can take so many twists and turns.
Was something else? What do you mean?
The blood was thought to have gotten on the box when the box was used as a weapon. But it turns out that wasn't the case.
Exactly as we already proved.
The blood splattered onto the treasure box the victim was holding when he was struck with the real weapon. That's what really happened.
Yes.
Isn't that right, Mr. Andistan'dhin? If I sweat too much more, I'm going to short out these speakers. Are you insinuating I'm the one who used this real weapon?
Yeah, and we already figured out what it is, too.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm wrong in my Andistan'dhin? Oh, understand. Okay, I get it. Understand.
You've never gotten it? Even though I already explained it to you?
Shut up. You got me riled up, lawyer man. I feel a song coming on.
Oh, just what we needed. This will make everything better.
Looking for a weapon that just don't exist. Pathetic lawyer man, drop into the abyss. Despicable lawyer man, yo, you make me sick. You can disappear just like a magic trick. Worthless lawyer man, done in by a weapon. For you, miserable wretch, hell doth be beckon. That was unfair. Yeah!
Give me 3 seconds and all we can do is just posit it.
I know I don't need to remind you, defense, but tongue shears! That your life is on the line.
We know!
I know, your majesty. Trust me, I do. Yet you're prepared to risk it on this mere idea of a real murder weapon? Death to the liar!
In other words, that's the theme of Phoenix Wright.
Basically. This is it. The moment of truth. I can't back down. Not now.
We just need a blunt object.
That's correct. Yes, your majesty, I am. I'm confident the real murder weapon does indeed exist. Gleam.
That's a bold claim, Mr. Wright. Now, let's see you back it up. I gotta say, one electric damalahn is one thing, but you know there are 2 electric damalahns? Show us which piece of evidence points to this real murder weapon.
It's gonna be the picture. Gladly.
Well, do we have to prove that it exists with the autopsy, or do we just point at the murder weapon in the photo?
I think we just need to point at the murder weapon in the photo, and then it'll ask us, like, which part of the picture.
Yeah.
If I knew which one it was.
About we do.
What would somebody like Andistan'dhin use to bludgeon someone?
And see, he just says, this is the answer, and so that...
Now then, defense, please submit your evidence to the court.
Gladly.
Yeah, let's see it, lawyer man.
Easily.
Let's see this thing that shows the real murder weapon you say I use.
Don't mind if we do.
Take that! What I'm about to present is really nothing more than a possibility.
That's what I was kind of saying before, you know?
But this thin thread is all I've got.
And, I mean, it's probably true. I mean, it is true.
We can easily prove it. Show us your other damalahn. Mandolin?
Yeah, if he just pulls out that damalahn, that takes care of it, doesn't it?
Allow me to direct the court's attention to this photo of the morning dance of devotion.
That photo? How's that going to help you, Mr. Wright?
Allow me to show you. There's something about it that doesn't sit right with me. The look on my face.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh, yeah? And what's this something?
Well, it's very easy.
This thing here is odd, to say the least.
It's this death damalahn.
It's Mr. Roll. Nope, it's Rayfa. Nope, it's this fire. It's the death damalahn.
It's the death damalahn, yes.
Take that! Mr. Andistan'dhin. Why is the instrument you're holding different from the one you're playing in the photo?
'Cause I put it in the storeroom, ow!
Would you look at that? They're completely different shapes. What is this, an episode of Sesame Street?
That's probably what he likes to watch, yeah?
I believe you said your damalahn was your one and only. Well, Mr. Andistan'dhin, what do you have to say to that? Heh heh, I got nothing to say. Then allow me to answer for you. They're different because the one in the photo is no longer in playable condition.
For some reason.
Yeah! Not after you used it to bludgeon Mr. Roll to death.
Didn't I mention, like, when we first saw him, that when he breaks down, he was going to use his damalahn like an axe?
Yeah! Yeah!
Now, did he kill Roll because he wanted to steal the orb? Obviously he did, because the orb is gone and he stole it.
My old partner wasn't doing so hot, so I brought her sister along. That's all. Not a big deal, lawyer man. In that case, please submit your old damalahn to this court as evidence.
That will literally solve everything.
Too bad. You're too late. I got rid of her yesterday.
Your one and only?
And there's nothing suspicious about that at all. You what? Burned her up with the rest of the trash.
So there wouldn't be any evidence of it.
Yeah.
How funny that you just happened to burn it up.
Ashes to ashes, baby. Ha ha! No! He's already destroyed the evidence? And I see more trash right here in this court that needs to burn in the fires of hell. Lawyer trash?
Of course, we had been waiting to use that piece of evidence for a while, but we don't really have another piece of evidence to use.
Yeah.
And we've even conveniently proven that his key won't open the box.
Now there's no proof to show.
We don't have anything else ready.
Yeah. Can there be more than one day to this trial, Your Majesty? Back where I'm from, we get 3 days. Oh, come on, that was pathetic. Your agony can sound better than that. Your death agony. Where's that great scream of yours? Ow, my hand! Ow, my hand! This can't be how it ends. I think I've heard enough. It seems the defense is unable to produce the evidence it needs to prove its assertion. But Your Majesty, that's only because the witness destroyed it.
You can't just let people get away with that, but I mean, how do you deal with it? Evidence is everything in court. Fortunately, the evidence I don't want you to present is already no longer in this world.
Oh, shut up.
Something doesn't quite seem fair about that, or just perhaps so, does it? Don't tell me you've forgotten this most fundamental.
Are you okay?
Principle of our death profession.
Pain.exe has crashed. Without sufficient proof, your claim that Mr. Andistan'dhin is the murderer is no more than conjecture. Oh, no, my tongue! And my life!
I was really getting worried. I actually did it. There's the pained expression I've been looking for. By the way, there seems to be one more thing you're forgetting.
What would that be? What is it now?
The Defense Culpability Act.
Oh, I promise you, I have not forgot it.
You accused Mr. Andistan'dhin of being the thief. But the real thief turned out to be the victim.
Wait!
Payne's here to save the day.
But... Uh-oh.
And, with that, Mr. Andistan'dhin's purported motive for murder goes out the window.
Now, hold on. Technically, we proved Albie didn't steal it. I mean, he's the one we're defending.
No, we really
guess we
didn't.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, I thought Payne was going somewhere else too, but this is bad.
Great point, prosecutor. You tell him. If I had been there, I would have just collared Roll and gotten the treasure back, unless I wanted to steal it. There wasn't any reason for me to kill him. Now, Was there? There's no good counter-argument to that. It sounds to me like Mr. Andistan'dhin has been completely wrongfully accusedly.
So it just goes right back to Albie then, and we can't prove that he didn't take it afterwards. We still have the cart moving. I mean, it doesn't necessarily make sense, but he's the person they have there. No, I mean, obviously he didn't do it.
Yeah, but
it's like he's the person they have there, and the Founder's Orb is gone.
Okay, but what did he use to kill Mr. Roll then? Because we just proved it wasn't the box.
Okay, that's an angle we can go on. And we can still... Well, we can't prove it was the guitar, though.
Unfortunately. Unfortunate as it may be, I think it's time to hand down the verdict in this case. Which is kind of funny considering how eager I was. Not good, not good. Defense, I trust you understand what you yourself will receive for taking on this case. But there's still loopholes to go through. Oh my.
Oi, we haven't received a single penalty. We can flounder a little bit, right?
What do I do? The murder weapon's been destroyed, and now I've got no motive. Poor Albie will be convicted, and I'll lose my life, too.
Mr. Wright, you've wasted this court's time and disparaged everything we hold sacred. We should charge you with lèse-majesté in addition to the crime of abetting the accused.
Boy, I'm already getting the death penalty. What does it matter? Just drag my name through the mud? Yeah, you should pay for desecrating my good name. Bye-bye, lawyer man. Time for you to do some repenting in the Twilight Realm.
How do we get out of this? Let's look at our stuff real fast.
Well,
Yeah, anyway, we don't have any, other than opening the box, how to get the box open and why is the key doesn't work. We don't have anything else we can work with here. Right? But that's something that's basically the best thing we can do, right?
Yeah. This guy is guilty as sin. I just know it. He must have had some reason to kill Mr. Roll, but what?
Okay, so the idea is to go and work on the motive?
Come on, people, let me hear you scream and shout. Let's put to death this lawyerlish lout. Time to take this lawyer trash out. I like mine better.
I like your lawyerlish lout. What the heck is up with this?
This culture is just borked in the head. The thing to do at a time like this is to turn my thinking around.
Oh, okay, this is actually a mechanic that was introduced in Dual Destinies, which I am.
I shouldn't be trying to figure out what Andistan'dhin's motive was. I should be thinking about what kind of situation would give him a motive.
I really do like the idea of turning it all around. After all, this is Gyakten turnabout courtroom.
Right.
Did you steal it? He said. Which we had never lost track of that.
Right.
So he already had it?
Or maybe he did it to
No, I mean Andistan'dhin already had the Founder's Orb.
That has to be it. That has to be it. We know that Mr. Roll was the thief and that he had gotten his hands on the box. So then, why?
Because the orb wasn't inside?
Maybe Roll found it earlier than he was expecting anyone to, find it. And he didn't, maybe Andistan'dhin, Roll found the empty box and Andistan'dhin didn't have a chance to escape. Maybe he heard Roll coming down the stairs and quickly ran and hid in the storeroom or whatever. And then waited for his opportunity to turn off the lights and then wang Roll over the head.
Isn't that the exact same scenario that we already had, though?
Well, what I'm saying is that the reason he had to kill Roll is Roll found it and he couldn't get away the empty box.
Okay.
Roll was intending to steal it. That's why he had his mask up and his gun ready. But then he was like, crap, it's not in here. And so he was like, I have to take Roll out. Or he's going to be looking for it too.
Or he'll find... No, I think it'd be, or he'll find me and he'll assume I stole it.
Okay.
That's the only thing that makes sense with it. Is if is if he was going to dig around and assume that the guy with the key is the one who stole it.
Yeah.
So he was going to go after. I mean, even if Roll did want to steal it, at that point he'd be able to nail Andistan'dhin.
Yeah.
And cover his own butt.
Yeah. Why in the world did he ask Albie that question?
Because it was already stolen is the point.
Right. What about the treasure box would have prompted him to... Ah!
You're a little late, Phoenix.
Defense, what's gotten into you? Now I get it. Now it all makes sense. Like, Polkuka, man. What you trying to say? Muttering and squealing to yourself? Sounds like you knocked something loose upstairs. I should know. Your Majesty, please hold off on your ruling for just a little while longer.
Okay, how can you convince him?
Don't tell me you're going to start begging for your life now.
No, that never works anyway.
It never does. No, Your Majesty, that's not it. It's just that I realized something important. We've been operating under a serious misconception this whole time. A misconception, you say?
That the box was emptied after Roll's death.
Yes, that's right. A mistaken notion about the treasure box. But could this really be true? If so, there's still a lot to figure out. Very well. Let's hear what you have to say. This court has been the most interesting trial I have ever presided over.
I bet it has!
I'm going to talk to my wife for so long about this, she's not going to believe me. She's going to accuse me of having read one of my stories on the television.
Having read one of the stories on the television, is it? What do we call that, a visual novel?
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty, this is just more of his nonsense. He's just stalling for time.
I already missed my class. What else do I have to lose? This is your last chance, defense. The second I find it really is nothing but nonsense, no amount of begging will stay my hand. Understand? Yes, Your Majesty.
We all know this is just going to be another one of your stupid bluffs.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Now then, defense, what is this misconception you mentioned? The thing we didn't realize about the treasure box was that...
it was empty!
What if the treasure box was already empty from the start?
And we still need to figure out why the stupid key doesn't work.
Like you said, there's still a lot to go through.
I mean, it could have been that the key doesn't work because it was broken, but...
Right.
Good reaction there, buddy.
Please recall that when Mr. Roll ran into Albie on the Great Stairs, he asked the boy a question.
Did you steal it? He said.
Also recall that Mr. Roll was holding the treasure box at the time. So why then did he ask Albie the question that he did? That is a bit peculiar, isn't it? Not at all, Your Majesty. Not once you realize that, by the time Mr. Roll got to the treasure room, the treasure box was already empty. I beg your pardon? Mr. Roll suspected that Albie had gotten to it first.
Still, why didn't Albie say any of this? Because he wanted to protect his friend Mr. Roll, but isn't that a little... the only way to make these things make sense?
Kind of, yeah. Which is why he confronted Albie when he ran into the boy on the stairs.
But how would the victim have known the treasure box was empty? He didn't have any way of opening it.
Objection! Once a year, the victim had the duty of carrying the treasure box to the palace.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Okay. He was so proud when he was put in charge of guarding the treasure box. He even got to carry the box to the palace for the New Year's rite.
So he would know if the lock was open. He would have been able to tell by the weight when he lifted it up that the box was empty, not what I said. Oh, I see. Yes, I suppose he would have been able to tell, wouldn't he?
He's the only person who could have. He's the only person around who carries the stupid box.
Mr. Roll most likely decided to at least steal the empty box. It's an important historical artifact in and of itself, after all.
But what's your point, Mr. Wright?
I'm getting to it.
What does any of this have to do with Mr. Andistan'dhin?
My point is this on my hair.
Oh, shut up! Nobody ever thought that gag was funny!
It gave Mr. Andistan'dhin a motive to murder the victim.
Because he knew Andistan'dhin had already stolen it! A motive?
Mr. Andistan'dhin, keeping the treasure safe is one of your duties, isn't it? So if anyone had found out that the treasure was missing...
Yeah, Andistan'dhin said he was the treasure's keeper.
Uh-huh. You would have been accused of incompetence. I still think he's the one what stole it, but maybe not. From the moment Mr. Roll discovered that the treasure was gone, his fate was sealed.
I mean, I think you're right, but wouldn't it be interesting if Andistan'dhin was just trying to preserve his position? That would also mean that the theft of the orb would then
it's like part of some bigger
carry over into the overarching plot of the game.
Yeah, maybe. Because you decided then that he had to be silenced forever.
But that's absurd!
Can you believe the stuff that comes out of this guy's mouth? Or mine? This is all just a colossal joke.
You're a colossal joke!
So then, what really happened to the treasure? Good rebuttal. It had been stolen long before this incident occurred.
I mean, we were thinking Andistan'dhin.
By Mr. Pees'lubn Andistan'dhin himself. Yeah, I guess with his access to it, he could have stolen it whenever.
Yeah. Well, it would have been about within the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't in Kurain before then. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to accuse Mr. Andistan'dhin?
Not when my life is on the line.
Your Majesty, please don't listen to these trumped-up charges. The defense is grasping.
And you're gasping. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's not bad.
Objection! The treasure box can only be opened with the key Mr. Andistan'dhin holds. Who else could have stolen the treasure?
As I said, the accused stole the treasure by forcing open the box. Your Majesty, I call for a swift ruling.
I'm not ready to give my verdict yet because I'm an awesome judge.
We still can't we have to figure out how the box could have been opened.
Right?
What? Why?
The defense has successfully presented a new possibility in this case. Yes! Finally! A tiny, minuscule shred of hope!
And on a tiny, minuscule shred of hope, I think that's good enough for now, don't you?
Oh, you tease!
Look, we don't have enough time to get to the end. Andistan'dhin still hasn't had his breakdown.
That's true.
There's gonna be at least one more cross-examination before this is all done.
You're right.
We'll nail him eventually, and then we can move on past the first case.